Meantime, this week at the State House, the legislative session continues. Some of the state Senate's big agenda items went to committee this past week. Senate Bills 1 and 2 both made it out of committee, dealing with literacy and child care. Friday, we spoke with one of the authors of Senate Bill 1, or the Every Child Learns to Read bill, which would require every school in Indiana to have a plan for reading instruction and potentially remediation or even retention for K-3 students who are having trouble reading.
This bill is trying to be proactive. And what we want to do is make sure that whether someone's in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, that we are assessing that child and seeing if they are on track to be proficient in reading by the end of third grade.
Now, the bill will still have to go to the Appropriations Committee as well. Meantime, Senate Bill 2 would allow child care providers to hire workers as young as 18 to care for infants and toddlers, and those as young as 16 could care for school-aged kids with supervision.
I've referred to this since day one as an infrastructure bill for the state of Indiana. It affects every aspect of our economy. It affects our ability to attract new businesses. And it's just something that we need to begin paying, I think, a lot more attention to than we have in the past.
You were one of the most outspoken opponents of the bill, saying, well, hey, this doesn't go far enough. Now that you've heard the testimony coming out of today, what is your response? Where do you stand?
I appreciated we amended the language to really address if we're going to lower the age, we're going to put some additional safety nets there to make sure that children get good quality care. And we need to seek innovation in this state and also put the resources there where we're going to say this is a priority. And I think we are getting close to striking a really good place.
Meantime, an Indiana lawmaker is offering new legislation to require the Indiana Economic Development Corporation to disclose more info about how it spends state money. Our chief investigator, Steve Brown, has been digging into the IEDC and found that in some cases, it's providing millions of dollars in tax credits to businesses that aren't fulfilling their promises. Democratic State Rep Ed Delaney also points to the controversial LEAP district as an example of why the IEDC needs greater oversight. He spoke with Steve this week.
What do you suppose the prospects are that this bill is going to get a hearing?
It could get a hearing. I think that's a possibility. Yeah, I think there's an understanding generally that we're having some budgetary issues. They're not all related. So we made a $1 billion mistake on the cost of Medicaid. We've kind of missed on income taxes now. It's kind of better than we thought. So I think there's getting to be some lack of confidence in our mechanism for managing our finances. And I think there's a vast misunderstanding of how many reserves we actually have. So there are people in the legislature who care about the institution and the budget aside from ideology. I hope I'm one of them, but there's some on the Republican side too. So I think this interest is happening. I think the LEAP project is feeding it because people are saying, where did this come from and how much money are we spending and was it well thought out? So I think this is a time where we can begin to monitor these organizations.
We've partnered with State Affairs Indiana on those investigative reports on the IEDC, and you can see more of that coverage on our website. In the meantime, another bill dealing with anti-Semitism brought protesters to the State House this week. One was even removed from the House chamber. Our Hannah Adamson was there.
House Republicans made it clear long before session began that tackling anti-Semitism on college campuses would be a top priority. House Bill 1002 passed its third and final reading Thursday, which some pro-Palestinian opponents argue could infringe on free speech.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Chants could be heard across the State House from Hoosiers supporting Palestine. Booing at House lawmakers as they fast-tracked House Bill 1002, which tackles anti-Semitism in public schools and colleges.
I am strongly against it.
Susan Berndorf is with the Jewish Voice for Peace organization. She says the bill does nothing to protect Hoosiers just like her.
My concern is that the only thing that this bill does is suppress free speech.
State Representative Chris Jeter wrote House Bill 1002. He says the bill is essential to protect Jewish students.
Prohibits any state curriculum in any K-12 or higher education institution It prevents any curriculum from teaching anti-Semitism or anti-Semitic activity. And in order to do that, we have to define it.
The bill adopts the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism. It defines anti-Semitism as holding Jews responsible for Israel's actions, claiming Israel's existence is racist, and comparing Israel's actions to that of Nazi Germany.
Those examples conflate the idea of anti-Semitism with criticisms of the state of Israel. And those two things cannot coexist together.
However, the definition does not include any mention of Palestine, reading in part, quote, criticism of Israel similar to that leveled against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic.
There's been a little misconception that maybe this bill impacts free speech or people's ability to protest. Doesn't do any of that. It's really just a curriculum bill.
The bill now makes its way to the Senate, where it has an unclear fate. That's because the exact same bill passed in the House last session, but never got a hearing in the Senate. Reporting from the State House, I'm Hannah Adamson.
Hannah, thanks. Coming up next, our panel weighs in on this week's top stories, including the latest from D.C. and the former president's victory in Iowa. What does it mean moving forward this election year? Plus, Indiana voters weighing in on the hot-button issues of marijuana and abortion. We'll show you the latest results of the Hoosier survey straight ahead.